got a PS5 HDMI repair today. We do quite a few of these every day, but this one is just a little broke there. We're just gonna do it live and let y'all see what the process is. There we go. Let's get under the scope. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. There we go. Let's get in there. So yeah, it looks like everything's okay here. A little bit. The problem with this one, let me back this thing up, is right there. So yeah, those pins are broke. So let's get this thing off. First thing I want to do is work on the back side, the underside of that HDMI. So right there, it's got some protective coating on it. I'm going to go ahead and chip that away. Look at that. Shoo. Okay, let's chip some off. Some protective coating. That helps keep the solder from oxidizing and causing rust. There we go. Okay, just need a nice clean spot for the iron to touch this solder. Get that nice and clean. I don't want to scratch too much yet because I don't want to damage the board. We'll just heat this up and get rid of it in a second. Oh no, I got flux on my brush. Ew, that's nasty. Okay, brush this off. Okay, now we're going to heat up our iron. Let's come over here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to add some flux to these. There we go. Okay, now we just need some solder. So what I like to do is use my solder here to decrease or mix in with this solder that's already on it. So we need to get the area hot and let that solder work into the other solder there, the original. You'll see as I push against this, it's not really melting very easy until the other solder mixes into it. Now it'll feel like butter. It'll just glide across. That's when you know you got it good and mixed in here. There we go. See how it's real liquidy? Yeah, it's just because it's melting very easily. You can see this barely melts. It's almost like my iron is stuck to it. It's like smudging it. There we go. Get that mixed in. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to move over to the other side. So on this one, I want to scratch away here on these legs. So I'll do that right there. Let Derek know we got a customer coming up. Okay, there we go. I'll scratch off both of these. Okay, I'll brush that off. Okay, so now what I want to do is add some more solder on the ends here, and then on the back side, we want to be careful around this little guy. We don't want to hit him. So we have to be able to touch these without touching that. Now, if you want to preemptively just remove this guy and then put him back after you're done, just to make your job a little easier, you can. But once you get really good at it, you'll be able to do that without removing that. There we go. Put some flux here and on this side. Now we're going to go into the sides of this. Now I'm going to do this one off out of the scope here. Let's go over here. Add solder to the legs on the sides. There we go. Nope. Nothing with Surface Pros. Okay, so now we need to put solder in here. Yep, Amazon or eBay. No, nothing for the Surface Pro. Yep, you just want to let them know to check Amazon. And yeah, no, he's not listening. Yeah, so he wants a solution though. Everyone wants a solution. So yeah. First thing he says, no, but you can check Amazon or eBay. That'd be your best bet. Alright. So we've got some solder on our micro tweezers here. We've got our HDMI under the scope. Let's go ahead and add on some of this solder. Okay. There we go. We're gonna add a little here. I'm just gonna add a bunch on that. There we go. I'll get a bunch of solder on there. You can see it all bridging. And turn this equipment off. I'll tilt this up so you can see what's going on here. You can see every one of those is bridged. Has some solder on it. Alright, so now we're gonna go back off camera. Go over here. Now we're gonna prep our hot air station. Let's set this thing to 480 degrees. There we go. Okay. There we go. Alright, so what I like to do is put a little weight on the board so the board will stay still for me. Pretty good. Center that up. There we go, that's pretty good. And I'm also using these tweezers. These are heat resistant, so I can actually hold them at these high temperatures. And so we're going to be going underneath the board with the heat, and then we're going to wait for it to be loose and pull it off. I'm going to go ahead and put a little more flux on it. Yeah, I'm grabbing flux off my table where the syringe is kind of leaked out a little bit. That way I don't waste it. Okay. So now we're going to apply heat and pull this off. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. I get a camera that I can attach to my chest or my head or something, so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Should start coming off any time now. Flux is really boiling. So all I do is use the tweezers, just touch it on the edges until I feel some give. Also watching the solder on the sides to see when it melts. Here we go. It's off. Uh-oh. Well. Ooh, that's some hot solder right there. I'm pretty good. Gotta take care of our equipment. Okay, so now we're gonna get the board back under the scope so you guys can take a look at it. There we go. And the best part is our little capacitor is still there. Alright, so now you want to clean. Start cleaning up here. There we go. Okay. Now we got it nice and clean. Um, uh, sure. Yeah, just mayo, black pepper on toast. Do three. Yeah, a little less this time. Yeah, scrambled but easy. Alright. So now what we want to do is tighten these up. Make sure they're pretty. So we're going to switch back over to our iron. What's up? Okay. What's the amount difference? No. Never do AQ7. Premium. So there is not a premium order. All it is AQ7. It says it right there, dude. How do you know? That's the premium. Yeah, yellow's always your premium. Okay. But yeah, it's a lot more. It is. What's the price quote on this? 120. Yeah, that's nothing. They're just gonna have to wait. Definitely don't add that. Okay. Yeah, just wait till the end of the day, see what happens. Just make a note so you can remind yourself. Yeah, you gotta make sure you're looking at stuff like that before they leave. You need to be ordering things while they're standing there. And that's definitely one of the reasons why. You can't quote them at something and then up the price on them. But on that, you could be like, hey, you can wait for the one to go back in stock. That's the price we quote at. Or you can pay for this one. And then you just add the difference. There we go, nice and clean. So now all these have nice fresh solder on them. Oh, there we go. I overworked that area. Okay, we'll turn our irons off. Okay, I like to clean again. Always clean in between everything that I'm doing. So what we did here was just make this solder consistently downgraded to a lower mount solder. One thing I did do is touch this little thing here, so we need to actually turn our iron back on and remove that. So I'll use a braid on this one. And put a little bit there. Bring our braid down with our iron. Should suck up the solder. Not very well. Yeah. Okay, there we go. It's clean. Turn the iron back off. Clean one more time. Alright, so now that we have this prepped, we can take our HDMI port and set it down on here. There we go. Okay, let's switch out to that. PS5. Okay, so one thing I like to do before I install these is inspect it. A lot of times they'll ship it to us and they'll be a little bent. So let's straighten these back out. Not much. Okay, this one needs to be straight wheel. Make sure they're at uniform height. That's pretty good. Let's go down just the tiniest bit. Just run across. Should feel pretty good. Okay, now that they're all looking nice, we're going to put some flux on these. Okay, okay, some flux. We're going to solder these. So we're just going to be using our micro tweezers and adding some solder to them so they'll be easier to attach to the traces. It's right over there. I saw it over there. Just keep looking. Yep. Yep. Okay, so now we're going to go in and touch each one of these. Okay. There we go. Each one, get rid of the bridging. That's good. And another thing you can do is like create a peak. You can create like a striation off of it like that. You'll see that a lot with Type C ports whenever people show you how to do those. No need on the HDMI. I'm going to leave my iron on. We're going to move over here. Okay, here we go. No, no. Cool. There you go. That works. Okay, so now we're just adding solder to each leg and taking the legs and them down onto the traces. So here I just created a bridge. Let's zoom in on that. Get zoomed in here. You can see that bridge right there. You see the two are connected. We're going to disconnect those by coming in. We want to just wipe across. And if that doesn't work, it's usually because there's not enough flux. So we're going to add some flux. Okay, add a little bit right there. There we go. We're just touching and removing. Oh, it jumped. Jumped up to the other two there. There we go. Okay, so now we got rid of that bridge. Now, only did a few of these. You can see the ones that are done here. Then up here, I haven't touched those yet. So we're going to move to the back of the board. And we're going to try to get the solder to go up through these through holes. Okay, we'll move over here. There you go. Okay, we're just adding some flux here. Okay. And then our iron. We switch over to the standard iron. And let's see, who's over here behind us? We're having breakfast slash lunch right now. Yeah. What? What? No, no, you good, you good. You over here eating. He's the one that took the PlayStation apart right there. You can see all the parts over here. I'm doing the solder work right now. Derek's running the front. Let's see. Here we go. So iron's hot. Now we're gonna grab some solder. Here we go. Put some of this left one. Zoom that in so you see. Focus a little bit. Here we go. Just let that heat up. And then to get rid of this bridging like this, you just pull out like that, or you can add some more flux to it, get that solder to flow a little better. And I like to ball it up on here. There we go. I'm just gonna leave the heat on there for a little bit. That to flow really well. The same over here one more time. Get it looking pretty. Now we're going to switch our iron back to the micro tweezers and flip the board over. And before I get started on this, we're going to clean up the HDMI a little bit. There we go. Clean up around here so I can see what pins have solder on them. Okay, and also you can see the solder did make it through the legs here. You can see they're attached to the legs inside there. But we do want to add a second layer on the top here to connect to these pads. But right now we're going to work on these. Okay. Let's add some flux. we go. Put some solder on our tweezers. We don't want too much on there. We're going to come in and touch these. Okay, that's where it gets a little tricky. You just got to be careful around that capacitor. There we go. I did touch it here on the top, you can see. But that's not going to hurt it. You just take it off later with some flux. Make sure these are on there good. Oh, I created a bridge. Here we go. I don't like bridges. Clean that bridge up. We need to add flux again. Really? Oh. That's not good. Okay. Get in here and clean this bridge up. Go. Our tweezers are pretty clean. We just want to touch, wipe away. So it jumped over again. Touch, wipe away. There we go. And we just happen to clean up the capacitor at the same time. Okay, turn your iron back off. Make sure you put a little bit of tinning on there. Clean it in your wire brush. Make sure every one of these is nice and pretty. Okay. So now we're going to clean that with some alcohol. And then we'll take a look at it. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. With some tweezers and grab whatever that is. Alright, so now we want to take each one of the legs and give them a shake. See if they're good and attached. And what we're looking for here is this nice slope coming off each leg. Okay, these are all looking good. A little bit of fat solder on there, but it'll work good. Ah, here we go. Here's a loose one. So this one looks pretty, but doesn't have the slope. So let's add a little bit of flux. There we go. Turn our iron back on. Add a little solder to it. Bridge, of course. Okay, now we're going to go in and remove the bridge. We'll clean up our iron. Just back, pull. It jumped again. We're going to move over. Pull. There we go. Should be good. Turn the iron off again. Use some alcohol on it. Okay, there we go. Those all look really nice now. Okay, let's check that leg again. They all look good, all the ones I was just messing with. So now, we've got these looking really pretty. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Look at that. Look how pretty those are. Nice slopes on each one. So now that we got that, we want to add the solder to the legs. Do this off the scope cam. We're going to add some solder here. And then we're just going to clean up with alcohol, and this will be done. So cool. Yeah, that's how you do a HDMI repair on a PS5, and that's start to finish. So after we're done with this, we're going to take the board and add new liquid metal solder paste here and to the actual plate over there, and then sandwich those together and reassemble the board. And then test. If you guys ever need a PS5 HDMI repair, you know where to go.